Hello everyone and welcome back to the JP on Comms YouTube channel for another All You Need to Know video in this player series where we look at Maidstone United's most recent signings and give you all the information that you will need to know as a Maidstone United fan or an outlooker from the inside trying to pick up a bit more information on the Stones in this upcoming campaign. So the most recent addition to the side is Deon. Deon has come in after most recently playing at Welling United. Of course, the third Welling signing of the season so far, alongside Josh Redfern and TJ Bramble, who he did feature alongside last season. But before we take a quick look into Deon, I'm going to quickly do a bit of self-promotion. If you are interested, my brother and myself are going to be doing a charity fundraiser challenge for Macmillan Cancer Research. It is going to be hopefully in the week beginning the 11th of August, and it is a 12-hour or 100,000 points darts marathon. We're hoping to live stream the whole event and raise as much money as we can for what is obviously a fantastic cause in Macmillan Cancer Research. So if you are interested, down in the description below, I'm going to leave a link to the fundraising page. You'll be able to see how much we're raising, follow us along this journey. You'll also be able to find a description of what it is we're doing, what the challenge entails, who is taking part and why we're taking part. So hopefully some of you who watch this may feel like you can contribute. Obviously there's absolutely no pressure to do so, but I thought I'd plug it here where I can because I know there's so many people who are affected by cancer, and Macmillan do fantastic work for them and supporting the families of those affected as well. So if you do have an interest, check it out down below. But let's crack on with the All You Need to Know video. Deon has signed, of course, from Welling. He's currently 26 years of age and a Guyana international. We've recently just lost one of those in Reece Greenwich, so 1 in, 1 out. But he plays in the striker role, can play on the wings as well, primarily in that sort of central forward position, but often features on the left or right as well. Throughout his career, he's played at a significant number of clubs, which of course, as always, I will quickly run through now. It's a very long list, but I'll get through it as quick as possible. Started off his youth career at Charlton Athletic, moved to Peterborough Youth, ended up featuring at 17 years of age in his professional debut for Peterborough, and ended up, I think, coming on as a sub for Shaq Coolfirst of all people over 10 years ago. So interesting. Little Maidstone tie there. Ended up playing for Mersham in the Isthmian divisions as his first sort of professional senior regular outfit. Moved to Bristol Rovers, had 2 loans whilst there at Bath City and Billericay Town. Ended up on then a permanent transfer to Hemel Hempstead, then a permanent transfer to Dulwich Hamlet. Had 3 loans in his time at Dulwich, which were Lewes, Charlton and Chelmsford. Lewes was then made a permanent transfer in the 22 season. He was there for 3 years. He ended up scoring 13 goals in 67 games. And from what I could read and find online, it's very, very impressive in his time there. Not just obviously the goal output. Some may not see that as too significant, a goal every sort of maybe 5 games in that time of his career, but it's his all-round play and his excitement he brings to the team, which was highlighted in articles that I could find. After Lewes, he actually earned a move to Sutton United, which of course is very impressive. Then to Woking, where he featured 10 times. He then dropped down to Dulwich Hamlet, up to Welling, and now to Maidstone. So a lot of clubs there, and a significant amount of appearances throughout his career so far. He's featured in all sorts of games, not just league games, cup games as well. In this game behind me, it's an interview from Sutton United just after he scored a first half hat-trick, and I believe it was a perfect hat-trick as well for them in a cup. So he has that ability to score, but that's not necessarily the main reason that he plays in that centre forward position. I think if you've been to enough pre-season games, I've unfortunately only been to 2. I was away on holiday for a little bit, as you would have seen in my most recent videos, I've mentioned that, but from people I've spoken to and from what I've seen myself in the 2 appearances I've seen against Ashford and yesterday as well against the Millwall under-21s, he seems to have a very good all-round game. He's someone who likes to bring players in to the game, not necessarily do all the goal scoring and output himself, but from what I managed to gather from his time at Welling and a few of his appearances at Woking, I didn't really want to go back too far in terms of his career to see what we're getting here and now, but he seems to be someone who maybe doesn't necessarily score the goal, provide the assist, but he's providing what I call pre-assist. You know, he's the player who will get the ball in the centre, knock it out to the wing, they'll cross the ball into the middle to a runner, and they score the goal. So he's definitely someone who gets involved in the build-up play, and with the amount of wingers we've signed this season, it would not surprise me to see perhaps us play 2 up front, see more drop in, Redfern go forward, have maybe Yiller and Tanga on the wings, something like that, and just pinging balls in that have been fed on through Deon. So he's definitely someone who can have a sort of impact on a game, but not necessarily that impact that's always visible unless you're there watching it. He's definitely an eye test player, I think, in my opinion. And a lot of people have been very critical of the goals that he scored, or lack of, in some cases. And for me, I think obviously that's a very important thing to have a centre forward who can pick up goals. But at the end of the day, if you're coming in to do a different job, yes, you might be in that position, but it's in the exact same way you might have seen, a creative winger versus a goal scoring winger. Juan Luque wasn't full of assists, he was more of a goal scorer, yet you have other players like Christy Patterson who came into the Maidstone side, couldn't score, but he was always feeding the ball into the box. And I think that's the sort of player we've got here. He's not perhaps your stereotypical definition of a centre forward or number 9, but he's someone who can play and add a little bit more to the game, add a different option, give defenders something to worry about, because if you know that the chances we're creating are coming from Deon, you're going to be trying to pick him up, maybe just outside the box or a little bit deeper in that sort of attacking midfield position. He may be lying a little bit deeper there, or even out to the wing, and that's going to take your attention away from other players, and that's going to give other players in the side a different opportunity to score, maybe a little bit more freedom in the side. So I think that's the sort of player we're bringing in. He's incredibly physical. He has a great ability to hold the ball up in those tight spaces. There's been many a times I've watched on his highlights so far where he's managing to run down the wing. He's got 1 or 2 players on his shoulder and he's shrugging them off. He's pushing them away. He's getting down the line. He's cutting into the box. He's playing a ball across the goal line. Sometimes he gets an assist. Sometimes he doesn't. Not being funny, the last few years he's not necessarily played in teams that are thriving. They're not fighting for those playoff spots, such as Woking. He was in around the mid to bottom of the table when his time there, exactly the same as Welling. We all know how that ended up for them last season. So maybe in a team that's looking to do a bit better, score a few more goals, perform a little bit higher up the division, you may see a significant increase in output or just all-round contribution to the game. And I think that's what Maidstone are trying to do here. I think he's coming in as more of a utility player, different option player. I don't think he's going to be our out-and-out centre forward starting every week, but he's playing pretty well in pre-season so far, and I think, he's definitely someone who can contribute in more ways than one, and more ways than initially appear apparent. It's a lot more to him than meets the eye, and I don't want to sound like a Transformers quote, but he just seems like someone who could potentially offer more. And I think we've done that with a lot of our players so far this season, trying to unlock a bit of potential. I mean, the potential for Deon in the start of his career was fantastic. So it's trying to realise that, trying to give him that ability to do that and see if he can contribute to the squad. But yeah, that is pretty much all I have to say on Deon. I think, like I say, he's someone who can provide that extra option, someone who can be a little bit more dynamic in his style of play, could provide a good option off the bench, or in a more difficult game where we need to try and create a few more chances and bring a few more people into the game, try and create from deep. He could be a good option in that sort of role. So best of luck to Deon for this upcoming season. I wish you all the best, and I hope that you and this Maidstone side succeed in this upcoming National League South campaign. But that is going to be all from me for today. As I said before, check out in the description down below the link to the Macmillan Cancer Support charity donation page that myself and my brother have set up for our challenge next month. If you can support, that would be absolutely fantastic. But like I say, no pressure to do so. And of course, if you did enjoy the video anyway, leave a like and subscription down below. It means the world. So thank you also very much for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one.